In this class, we'll be dealing with the list group. So without further ado, let's get started. So we had a class of list group. Class of list group item. List group item class list group item class list group item class list group item. So you can see the list group item. Let's have a break here so that you can see the list group appropriately. So good, you can see our list group here. So the next is the list group with link. So you can also have a class of list group list with the link, list group item class list group item class list group item class list group item class list group item. So this is for the link, while this is for just the li. Then the next we have the contextual class. The contextual class, you can say list class of list group class of list group item, that is regular. Then we can have a class of list group item list group item primary. So that is the contextual class. You can see the list group. So let's have a break here, separate that from that. Okay, good. So the next class of list group item list group item secondary. Class of list group item list group item success. Class of list group item list group item info. Class of list group item list group item warning. So we see have about 3 more. List group item list group item danger. class of list group item list group item light list group item list group item dark. You can see the contextual class, the regular, primary, secondary, success, info, warning, danger, light, and dark. So that is our list group. The next thing we have, let's have a break here. So we have the list group. We have class of list group. So we have excuse me, class of list group item. So let's copy the class so that we won't waste much time. Paste. Since you have used to that, the list group item, so you can see. Then what we add to it now, we now say list group flush, so that you have, you can see there's no border at the left and right. So that is the difference of this group. So if you want to add an active, you can add an active class to it. You can see that is an active class. So let's move on. So this is the badge of list group. You can have a class of list group. Then let's paste the item, 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 item. So let's have a break. So you can see now we want to add a badge to it. We want to add a badge. So under here, so let's add a badge. Let's add a badge to it. Let's add a span here. So let's add a span one and have a class of badge, 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 info. So this is a class of badge, badge info. Where is the one here, so that we see what we are doing. This is the badge. After the, this is it 1 2 3. So let's add one here so that we see properly. So where is the one? Under form, list group item. So badge, badge, badge info under 5. So badge info. Let's have sources. Badge sources. So there is the one not displaying. So under 4. Oh wow, it's there. So we are not seeing it. So text is white. So let's add a color to it. So one is there. Let's just say text dark. Wow, So this it. So under that now, so you can see it. One, test dark. Have a class of badge sources. So let's add a class here under the for class of justify class of justify content between justify content between, then we have for called the flex. The flex, you can see that has moved to the right side. So our badge, why the badge is not showing, so let's give it a bg, so bg info. So cool, so let's take that as the badge color. So let's move on. So the next thing we'll be doing is the breadcrumb. So have a class of breadcrumb. So have a class of breadcrumb item. Breadcrumb item. You can see it. Breadcrumb item. Here we have a class of breadcrumb. It's breadcrumb will not break. Have class of breadcrumb. That is the home. So let's have a break here so that separate it. Okay, breadcrumb class of breadcrumb item. Class of breadcrumb item. You can see it here. You can see the forward slash here. So here again we have a class of breadcrumb class of breadcrumb item class of breadcrumb item class of breadcrumb item. You can see that is the breadcrumb. So this is the end of our class. So I will see you in the next lesson. In this section, we start dealing with the form. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is our form. You can see we use the class of row. Then we have a container there already. We use the class of row here. Then under here, under the input, we have class of form control. You can see the form control. So class role. So under the input, have a class or form control. You can see the email and the name. So the next is the company name. So let's scroll down. Class of row. Class of row. Then we have a class of form control. You can see. So let's move to password. Class of role. The input we use the class of form control. Cool. Then let's scroll. Then here we scroll. Say class of row. So here we now have a class of form select. You can see form select. Excuse me. Then here we have a class of row. Then the text area. Excuse me. So we can have a class of form control. You can see. Then if you look at it now, you can start resizing. For you to stop that resizing, so we have what we call inline style. You can now say resize, set it to none. You can see it has disappeared. Then let's go down. You can see here we have the form here, the file. So we can have what we call class of row. Then inside the file now we can have class of form control. You can see form control. Excuse me. So under the label, you can say test, have a class of test muted. So we have form test already. So form test or test muted. So that is our select file. If you click at it, you will see it to load up. So that's what happened. So let's go down. Then we have a class here and say row. So you can come, you can see. You can now have a class, can have a class of form control also. Form control. Form control. You can see it has changed. Form control. I love this. So if you don't want it to look this way, you can remove the form control so that you have that bar. So anyone you choose. So all depend on anyone you choose. So anyone you chose. So you can see it one that way or the other way around. So we have a range. So you can specify the step. You can specify step and say 1. You can now have what called maximum. You can say if the maximum is 10. You can have a minimum of 2. So you can see 10. So that is for the range. So we have a button now. This is the button. You can have a class of btn soft outline one L outline success. You can see, but we want it to be in block form. So what you have to do now is to put the btn inside div. So we call the div d grid. So the btn will be inside this grid, so to become a block elements. You can see the btn now is now block element. So that is how you display a btn in a block element. So it must be inside the grid, or you display it flex. So that is all about that. So let's go have this also now. Here we can now display this. Where's the form? This is our form now. So if we check the div here, we have two div here. We have this input. There is it. This is what we are dealing with in the username and password. So where is the this is the username, this is the password. So form inline. So we can now say class of divless. I just say divless. Wow, divless. So if you check it now, so the btn now, let's go to the first input. Have a class of form control. Form control. Where is the first input? Okay, this is the first input. We have a class of form control also. This is the class of form control. So yeah, you can see this. Can now have btn. So this is the label. Can have a class of form check. So remember form check. Then we can now have a class of form label. Then we have a class of btn check. Then here we have a class of btn dark. btn dark. So we have class of checkbox. We have btn check. We have form check. So you can see it's inline element. Let's increase it and see. You can see it as they are inline. So let's resize it again. So let's scroll down. So let's go down, and I've done with the button. So this is, can have, leave the form here. Let's have a class of row. Here we have a class of column MD6, class of column MD6. So the input will have a class of form control, class of form control. You can see color MD6, color MD6. So because we are in half of the screen, that's why they stack. So if we size it now, they will be in front of each other. You can see C6 because the call is 12. So let's move on. So we have the validation now. So this is the validation. So let's move on. You can have a class of raw. So the input now, the input will have a class of, this is the default. Where's the validation? This is the validation, and this is the default. You can have a class of form control. You can see form control, that is the default. So yeah, there's class of raw. Then here we now have a class of form control. Then we now have is valid. You can see is valid. Then here we have a class of is now have, okay, is valid feedback. So let's check it out. Have is valid feedback. Good. It's valid feedback, not is valid. It's valid feedback. So let's check it out. So we had our class here, a class of row. Then we have class of form control is invalid, class of invalid feedback. Cool. Then we move straight to the form. We have a call class form check form switch. Then the input will have a class of form check input. Now we have what we call class of form check label. That is the default switch. Then here we have a class of form check form switch. class of form check input, class of form check label. Then we now have what we call the attributes of check. You can see, you can switch it off, switch it on, switch on, switch off, switch on, switch off. Then the last on the table, you can say class of form check form switch, and say class of form check input and disabled attribute. You can see disable now. Then let's add the last class of form check label. You can see it's disabled, can't do anything with it. This you can do. Why this one is a default. This one is a default. You can switch it. This one is checked already by default. So if we refresh it now, you see it's checked already. Why this one you cannot check it by yourself. So that is all about the form. So I will see you in the next section. We will start looking at the input group. So let's get started. So let's enter a class of input group. Then enter a class of input group test. You can see our input group, so let's give it a break here. Cool, you can see the input group. So let's give a class of form control. You can see our input group. And yes, this same here, class of input group. And come to the element, and add a class of input group test. Then inside, you can see inside the input element, you can now have your class of form control. You can see how awesome it is. So let's scroll down. So we have here, you can have a class of form check label. I have a class of input group. So here now we now have our class of input group test. You can see, so the input element can now have our class of form control. You can see. So let's go. Then same thing here, class of input group, class of input group test. class of form control. So here again we can have our class of input group text, so left and right. So here let's have our class of input group, class of form control, you can see. Then we can now have our class of input group text. You can see it. We have our form control and a class of input group text. Input group, this is it, input group text. Here we have another input group here. So we can add a class of form control. Look at it now. You can see the input group is at the middle. So if you want it to be in that form, so all depend on what you want. So we have a class of input group already there. So we can have a class of input group text. You can see. Then here we have a class of form control. It's our test area. So if you want to remove this resize, I've taught you that. So it's simple to do that. You can add your inline style, resize, set it to none, so it will disappear. Cool. So input group with sizing, so we can say class of input group, input group edge. So we have small here, so we'll use the SM. Have small here. So we can now add our class here of input group text. Then in the input himself, we have our class of form control. You can see this is the small input group. So let's scroll down. And have it. So we have the small. You can see the small. Then let's have it here. Class of input group. So this is the default. Class of input group text. It's a default. We don't have to add the sizing. So then the inputs have the attribute of form control. Cool. So if you look at it now, the input group is not working properly. So let's check it out where we have error. So we had it to the wrong side. So we had it here. This is where we put our input group. You can see now it's appropriate now. So the bigger size, I say class of input group edge, as is a bigger one. So here we can now have our class of input group test. You can see it's a bigger one. So at the input, now we have a class of form control. You can see we have a bigger input group now. We have the small, default, and large. That is the sizing in the input group form. So let's go down. Then we have here again class of input group. So here we can add a class of form check label. So we have input group. Wow, I have over scroll. I'm sorry for that. So I see in the form input group here, class of input group. So we have that's input group. Then here we now have class of input group test. Then we can have a class of form control. Oh, this is not where we have the form control. The form control should be in this, in the test. This is the form control. Then here we can have what we call class of input. Can have form check input. Form check input. So we can add the attribute of check if we wish. Check box. So is it? Check it. So let's refresh it. You can see because of the check we had. So stick to it. So let's move on. So let's go to the radio. Class of input group. Class of input group test. I had the class, our attribute of check. Then we can now have our class of form control. Under here we can say class of form check input. Cool. You can see we're moving on. So let's go to the select now. So the select. So I had a class of input already. So this is the input group. So this is our label. So input group is our label. I can now say class of input group test. Then a label here. Okay, and select here. We can now have a class of form select. Cool. You can see it's working. And let's go. As a class of input group, class of form select, then here we will now have a class of input group test. You can see that is prepend and append. So let's go on. Here we can have our class of input group. Then we have button. So let's have our class of input group test. You can see. Then let's go to the select. Let's have a class of input form select. So you can see form select. So let's go down. The last, not the least, I have a class of input group. Input group. Then class of form select. You can have our btn class here if you wish to do that. You can now say btn primary. So you can see our btn now, how awesome it is. So this is all about the input group. So I will see you in the next lesson. Welcome back. In this class, we'll be dealing with the alert and the progress bar. So without further ado, let's get started. So alert, create a class of alert. You can see alert, then we have alert primary. You can see that is our alert. Then come to here, create alert, class of alert, alert secondary, class of alert, alert success, class of alert, alert danger, class of alert, alert info, class of alert, alert warning, class of alert, alert light. Let's go again. Class of alert, alert dark. So this is all the alerts that we have. So let's create alert dismissible. Then we have what we call alert and alert dismissible. You can see alert dismissible. Then we have a class of btn close, a class of btn close, btn first before btn close. So we have what we call data bs dismiss alert. So you can see we have, oh wow, dismiss, not dismissible. Cool. btn dismissible. So we can remove these times here. We don't need it. Can remove this span. So you can see when we click here now, it will disappear. You can refresh, it will come back. You can see alert dismissible. So that is alert dismissible. Then we have content with alert. We have class of alert. Then we can now add bg sources. So you can see the alert. Then in this class now we have the progress bar. We have a class of progress, class of progress bar. Let's go to view what, but you can see the progress. We have the progress bar. So we'll give it a width. I have the inner style of width. Can say 25%. And let's say 25%. You can see the width of 25%. So let's copy this, paste. Can give a width of 50%. Correct it, width of 50%. So let's paste it here again. 75%. 75%. And here let's paste it. Let's give it a width of 100%. 100%. You can see a width of 100%. So we don't need this. Can get rid of this. So you can see the progress bar. So let's go down and see what can do next. Progress bar with height. Let's paste here. So let's give it a height. We can style it, inline style. Then we'll give it a height of, can say 2 pixels. You can see the height 2 pixels. So we can change it to 100 pixels. You can see 100 pixels, height of 100 pixels. So all depends on what you want. So let's give it 20 pixels. You can see 20 pixels. Let's give it 15 pixels. 15%. So let's give it 5%. You can see 5%. So as the case may be, you can also use the rem. You can also use the rem, to rem, so which is 30 pixel or 1632 pixel. So you can see that is for height. So let's go for the strip. So you can add it here. Progress bar strip. You can see it. You can see that it's strip, progress bar strip. Then let's copy the strip. Let's paste it here. So under the strip, you can now add another progress bar animated. So let's check it out. You can see that it's animated. So let's increase the percentage to 100% so that we see it properly. So you can see it's animated. You can see it's animated. So we can change the background. So if you want to change the background, you can add your VG sources. VG sources. So let's add it here. VG sources. You can see, guys, you can change different color. So this is the multiple progress. Let's start from beginning. Class of progress, class of progress bar. So you can add a style. Okay, let's leave the width. Let's just leave the width. Let's copy because we want to have multiple progress. So we want to have a progress bar. So let's go and see multiple progress bar. So here we can now have progress bar straight BG success. Progress bar strip. Progress bar. Let's check it out why our progress bar is not appearing. So the reason why it's not appearing because we are not applying the style. So width of 30%. So let's add the 30%. You can see the 30%. So here style of width of 40%. Can I say progress bar a class of let's add it here. Progress bar animated animated BG danger. So okay, so we have to include the progress bar stripe to it so that we see it animated. Then we now have what we call the percentage of 40%. So 40%, not dollar. So you can see the last year, you can now say progress bar stripe style of weight 30/30. So we have 30% here. So we now have 30%. So you can see our progress bar. That's our multiple progress bar. So we have done with the alert and the progress bar. So I will see you in the next lesson. Welcome back. So we'll be dealing with flexbox in this particular section. So we have been using dflex, so we don't know what dflex really stand for. So this is the flexbox for CSS. So we'll be using flexbox fully in this particular section. So you can see we have this raw h1 and item h1. So I implement this to design the border of the parent element and the border of the item of this flexbox, which is the container. So I implement this to have the border for it. So this is not a flexbox class. So I added that to it for the sandbox. So without further ado, let's start learning properly what flexbox is all about. So let's go there. So now we had what we call flex. So let's check it out. You can see that's flex. Flex is in CSS. The flex are the main axis. This is the main axis. So flex from left to right. So this is not CSS. So let's just learn Bootstrap. So in my CSS course, so you will see everything. My HTML course, you will see what flexbox is all about there. So the flex, that is flex. Then we now have flex revise. So we have here, we now say dflex. Then we now say flex row reverse. So you can see the reverse is the opposite of the dflex, which is now revised from the right to left. This one is left to right. So let's move on. So we have justify content start. So we have dflex justify content start. We use this in our grid. So let's scroll and see. You can see start is the default of the flex. So let's move on. The flex justify content center. So you can see it's centralized now. So let's proceed. The flex justify content end. You can see end. So the end just like the flex reverse. Flex row reverse. So the next is the justify content around. So the flex justify content around. So you can see you distributed the item around. So you had it on the container. So these are the items. So you justify the item around. So this is the container. Say dflex. Container simply means the parent element. So dflex justify content between. So let's see the difference between around and between. You can see the around has a gap. So you can see the gap here is double of here, the double between the two items. So you can see this gap now, the around here, the between here, it calculates the space between the items, so there are equal space between the items. So why this one have the half of here double here, the half of the right double here, so this is around, this is between, this is around, why this is between. So then we now have less column, so we now say d flex. You know, by default it is, when you say d flex, by default it will be in flex row. So now we will now change it to flex column. You can see column is what it is from beginning. So when we flex it, we now change the direction from the main axis, now change from top to bottom instead of from left to right. So flex column is from top to bottom. So let's move on. We can also reverse it. D flex. Now say flex column reverse. So you can see flex column reverse. So you may not see the difference between the flex column and flex column reverse. So how do we know the difference? So you can just add something to it here. This is the end, you know, it's from top to bottom. So now I want to reverse it from bottom to top. So now let's see, now you can now add something here. Let's add top. You can see now it has reversed. Instead of from top to bottom, now come from bottom to top because we have reversed it. So let's get it clear so that we understand. This is the bottom. So you can see bottom and become the top. So that is the reverse. So in the column case here now is top. You can see it maintained top. You can see the reverse now took the bottom to the top. So that is how we achieve that, by using the flex column and flex column reverse. So that is how to apply that in this particular case. So let's move on. So we have what we call vertical align item. So let's scroll. So you can now say d flex. Now say align item start. You can see can align the item start. So let's go d flex align item center. You can see centralize d flex align items end. You can see this is the flex boss in Bootstrap. So when you understand it, you start applying it when we start building our projects. So this is the end. So we now go to this. We now have what we call so item. So now say d flex align items baseline. So you can see baseline is just like start. So let's have it here. D flex align item stretch. So the stretch, you can see the stretch is just like flex, you understand, but it stretch it to occupy the full height of the parent element, which is the container. So if you look at the beginning now, this flex box, you can see the flex here. You can see how it is now because we have a height to it. So you can see how it is from beginning. So because we have a height to it, so this is the flex box. So let's move on. So you can see it now. You can see how it is. So look at the stretch. You can see the stretch. You can see the baseline. So let's move on. Let's move on and see for ourselves. So The last one is the align self. So let's have it. Now say D flex. You can see it has flexed all the item. So let's apply the class to individual item. So we now have what we call align self baseline. So you can see the baseline, align self start. So you can see the align self start is the same thing as the baseline. Now say align self center. You can see centralize. Then let's have it align self end. You can see it ends. So the last on the list is align self stretch. You can see it's stretch. So that is the default. So you can see when we use it here, the stretch here. You can see when we use the stretch here, it occupies the height of the container, which is the parent element. So the same thing here. So this is how to apply. This is the start. This is the baseline. So the start, the align item start just like the same thing as the baseline. So this is center, this is end, and this is stretch. So this is where we end our flex box. So I will see you in the next lesson. In this section, we'll be dealing with table. So let's get started. So we enter class of table. So let's give a break here so you can see it proper. Okay, you can see this class of table. So you can see how it is. This is the table. Then let's scroll down. We have called table reverse. Class of table inverse. I see table here. Okay, we jump one table here. Let's rectify this. So there's no more table inverse. What we have can say BG dark text white. So we can see everything appropriately. So now let's fix this. We have one table here. Okay, class of table BG, let's say BG secondary. Cool. So you can use dark, you can use secondary. So since I've used dark here, that's why I use secondary here. So let's go down. This is the one just. Then we have the table stripe. You can see table stripe. Table stripe. You can see it. You can see the stripe. You can see the color. This is white. This is table stripe. So let's go down. So let's add a break here. So the table border now. Table border. can see we have table here, class of table bordered. It's not table border, it's called table bordered. Cool. You can see they all bordered. So let's scroll down. We have table borderless, class of table borderless. You can see there's no border at all. So let's scroll down. Then we have the overable table. So this is the table hovered. So when you hover, you can see the hover on it. So let's scroll. Still have more table. We have the contextual table. So we can add our table hover. Then we can now have our BG info. You can see BG info. So under here, the body here, the row here, you can now have what you call class of BG. If you like to add the BG one in here, all depend on what you need, what met your requirement. So you can add different color to it. That is the contextual table. So we have a class of here. You can say table table SM. You can see the table SM. You see that it shrink. So that is table small. So you can also have your contextual color here. You can say BG success. You can see BG success. You can see we also have responsive table. You can add a class called table responsive. Then here now we can now have our class of table over and table straight. So you can see it. This is the table, responsive table. So if let's assume that we resize the table. Let's resize the table and see the responsiveness. So let's add table responsive. So let's add to the you can see, let me add to it. You can see the responsiveness started showing. Cool. So let me resize this back so that you see the table and what the table responsive is all about. You can see the responsive. You can see that you can scroll. So if you want to add to the header, to the table header, you can see the table header. This is the table header here because it has nothing here. So you can add to the table header. That is the table header. Oh, sorry, I'm not in the appropriate place. This is the table header here. the table header. You can see. Cool. You can see now we can scroll. This is the responsiveness of our table. So the next we'll be dealing with is the pagination. So we'll be dealing with the pagination now. So now let's add a class here called the class pagination. You can see the page class of pagination. Then you can have a class of page item. Then class of page link. You can see. So let's copy here. Let's just copy the item and the link. Paste. So you can see. So let's add this one. I didn't paste. I didn't highlight this. Paste. So you can see now. You can see the pagination. You can see the pagination here. So next, previous. So that is the pagination. So let's copy the pagination now and apply the center pagination. So let's put it here. So you can see, want to centralize it now. Want to centralize it. So you can add the class here. You can add a class here. You can say justify content center. This justify content center. Okay, sorry. Let me add it here. That is not the appropriate place to add it. So let's add it here. Justify content center. Cool. You can see it's centralized. This is by default, which is justify content start. So let's align it to the right here. So let's add it here. Justify content end. So you can see it's end. You can also use the ME, ME. That is ME end. So you can also use that to achieve it. So that is it. So let's add our large pagination. So we can now have pagination edge. You can see the pagination edge. You can see how big it is. So that is for the large pagination. So let's paste this. So the next we have here pagination small. So we can have pagination SM. You can see how small it is. And the last one is the arrow pagination. So if you want to have the arrow pagination here, so if you want to have an arrow pagination here, you can have a span here. You can remove the next here and have a class of span, or you remove the span. Let's have what we call e-tidy. The e-tidy. So the e-tidy is ampersand. We have what we call the right arrow. So you close it with the semicolon. So right arrow is called right arrow. You can see now it has appeared. It's called a quote. So right arrow. So let's go to the left. So you can get rid of this and put your id. So ampersand left arrow. So you can see left arrow and right arrow. So this is the arrow pagination. So pagination with arrow. So this is where we end our table. So I will see you in the next lesson. This section will be dealing with the card class in our Bootstrap sandbox. So let's get started. We had our class here, call it card. Then we'll call here class of card body. So let's have a break here to see our card properly. So this is the card. This is our card here. So card body. So let's have a simple card here. Have card, class of card body. Let's go. You can see the card body. Then we can now have a class of card title. We can now have a class of card subtitle. So you can see the card here. Then here we can have a class of btn outline info. Can see our image as the web page refresh, the image changes because we are using the unsplash link here. You can see the link, the source 5 of the source unsplash.com at random 30 by 201 pixel. So this is the image here. So that is the image we are using from unsplash website. So now we can click here. We can say class of card. Then we now have our class here. We call it card img top. So to make the card be at the top, so you can see the card here. So then here we can add what we call class of card body. We can have our class here called card title. Then here we can now have a class called card text. Then we can still have our class of btn info or btn warning. So you can see our card now, very beautiful card. You can see it here. So the next, let's go to card with header. So we'll click here, we call it class of card. Then we call a class here called card header. Then we call a class here, we call it card body. Then as usual, we call this one card, which you already know, title. Then here we can now call our class here, which is called card text. Then still have our btn here. We can call it btn success. You can see this is a card with a header. So the next is we have a card header footer. Then we centralize it. Then let's have it, call it card. Then we have a card header. Then have a class here, call it card body, card title, class card test. Then we now have what we call card btn outline danger. Then we have a class of card footer. So you can see the card footer. So this is it. See, this is our footer. So if we want to centralize it, so we can say test center. You can see the text, they are all center. You can see it here now. Then let's go down. Then we now have card with nav. Call it class, call it card. That is our card. We have a class here. You can call it card, class of card header. Then we can now have a class of nav tabs. So let's go and see. You can see our card of class navs. So we can now have our class of nav item. Excuse me. We have a class of nav link. So we do the same here. Class of nav item, class of nav link, and the last one will have a class of nav item and class of nav link. So let's view it and see what we have done so far. You can see. So if you want to have a class of active, you can have active here. You can have an active class there. So you can see the active. So that is the navigation. So under it now we can now scroll. We can now have our class here. Class of card body. Let's go so that we can be seeing what we are doing. You can see card body. So here we can now have our class of btn outline dark. So you can see it now. This is our card with navs. So let's go. So if you want to remove the nav tabs, if you like to remove the nav tabs here, you can remove it to remove that underline. So let's view it and see. You can see the underline is gone. So I think you can have it this way. So let's go down. So the next is the image overlay. So you can have a card here, class of card. Have class of card. Then you can now have a class of card img overlay. Let's check it out. You can see it here, card of img overlay. So here you can now have a class of card img. So have it this way. So let's view it. You can see it. So let's have a class here. Call it class card title, then class of, you can say text white, so that you can see the text appropriately. See, because the image is overlay. So to fresh, let's see another image. So card title. So you can see the image. You can see the image here. You can see the image here. So you can here we can add a class of, so that we see text white also. The title, you can see add your text white, so that you see everything according to the image that is overlay. So you can see the text overlay the image. That is it. So that's how to achieve that card img overlay. So I think we have gone so far from the card. So we now have a card with color now. So we can say class card, and now have class of card header, class of card body. You can see now we want to add a color to it. So if you have your, you can say bg info. You can see our card now. Add the bg info. Then let's have it here. Class of card, class of card header, class of card body, class of card title, and class of card text. Then we have our bg here, bg warning. That is the color. So okay, this is primary, so let's use according to the name there. We have bg primary. So the next one is bg secondary. So let's use the appropriate name. So we can break it. So the next one now is the success. So success. So class card. So as I'm repeating the syntax of Bootstrap, so it will stick to your muscle memory, so you understand more about the class of Bootstraps. So card body. So here is card header. So we now have a class of card title. So class of card text. So you can see the more you repetition, the more you stick to your muscle memory. So we now have success here. So I have a card of success. So let's break it. So let's get rid of this parenthesis. So the next is the danger. So let's have it. Card, class of card header, class of card body, class of card title, class of card, text. Then you can now add your BG here, BG danger. So you can have a break there, have a break here. So let's continue. Class card, BG, warning, class of card, header, class of card, body. So class of card, title, class of card, text. So let's go. We can break it here. So we can break it here. We have a class of card, BG info, class of card, header, class of card, body, class of card, title, class of card, text. So let's break it again. Class of card, BG, light, class of card, header, now have a class of card, body, card, title, card, text. So we now have class card, BG, dark. So let's break it here. Class card, header, class card, body, class card, title, class card, text. So all these, you can see all these are the contextual color. So the one where we have dark, we can now have text white, so that we can see everything appropriately. So you can see text white. So let's check it out. You can see all the card overlay. So these are all the card I've done so far. So let's move on. So we have a lot of card to cover. We have the outline. You can now have card. You have the class of card. So now have class of card. So we now have the outline now. Now call it BG outline primary. Let's check it out. So let's have a class here as a class of header. class of header. So now have a class of body, class of card title. Sorry, it's card, not just body. And now have a class card text. Let's see. Not oh, I'm sorry, card of header. So let's view it and see. That is the outline. So you can see this is the card just as it is from beginning. There is no difference. So you can, instead of wasting time, so you can just duplicate all this, wasting time, duplicate all this and change the outline to secondary. So let me do that now so that we won't waste much time. So we now have secondary, have secondary, have success. So you can change all this also to success, but you understand what I meant. So you understand what I meant, you can do that as the case may be. So let's move on to the last group. So let's deal with the card group now. This is the card group. So we enter class card group. So in the previous version of the Bootstrap 4, is known as card column, but now it's now card group. So we call it card. We say card here since we have it as a group. So let's check it out. You can see they are group now. So let's scroll down. Then we can have our class here. We can call it card body. So class of card title, then class of card text. So let's go down. So here, under here we can see call a card here, class of card, if you wish, card. So let's view it and see what we are doing. So have a class of card there, or we call it card body. So all depends. So let's do it. Let's do it card body. Cool. So let's go down, call here class of card title, class of card text. So you can see it. So then we can call a class of text muted. So under here again, we can call our card. So there is something I didn't do here. So let me do it here. Call it class card img top. So you have to apply that class there. So card img top. Let's go down. Then now I have a class of card img top. So you can see the card now is grouping together as we go move on. So class of card, you can add a class of card title, class of class card text. So class of text muted. So let's proceed. So here, let's add the card body. So to separate the text from the border, card body. So under where do we have the card again? Card body. Yes. So if you scroll down here, so let's have it here. Have a class of card body, a class of card title, card text. So as we have applied for card text muted. So let's scroll down. This is the last one of our card. I have a class of card img top, class of card body. Then you can also have a class of body quotes, class of body quotes, no, rather body quotes. So class of body quotes. Then you can have a class of text, card of text. So here you can have a class of oh sorry, not body quotes, block quotes. Block quotes. You can now have a block quotes footer. So let's move on. Block quote footer. So yeah, we can also have a class of card. Then we can have our class of card body, class of card title, class of card text. So under the card body now, you can have the BG, the BG, the BG of info. And see, let's check it out. BG of info. Let's check the info BG body, card body. So let's have it here. Let's have it here. Card body, BG info. Let's add it here and see. So let's go. You can see our image here. You can see how lovable it is. So we have not finished this. Let's go down. Then we now can now have our class of test muted. So this is the class of test muted. So save it. So we can see now test muted. Cool. Now we can see how our card is now. You can see this is, if we resize now, you can see fit into the screen. You can see the card group. You can see how the card group it. You can see how awesome it is. That is card group. You can see all the image, all the contextual class. You can see. So that is, if you take a look of it now, so that is all about card. So let's resize it back. Cool. So when you view at it now, this is the card group. So this is where we stop in this section. So I'll see you in the next lesson. In this class, we'll be dealing with the image class. So if you look at the image, you will see that our source of image came from unsplash.com. So we use this opportunity to give kudos to Unsplash for enable us to have access to this particular image. So thanks to Unsplash. So without further ado, let's start coding. So let's enter the class of img fluid rounded. So let's check it out. You can see the image. The first image now have a rounded radius by the edge of the 4 square. So you can see the image beneath here have a sharp edge. So that is what the rounded does to this particular image element. So let's check out the image, the second image. Let's add a class img fluid, img thumbnail. So let's add float start. So you can see float start will enable the image by the left side to stick to the left side of the viewport. So let's add here to the second image class float and thumbnail. So you can see the image, the second image will stick to the right side of the viewport, which is the screen. You can see there's a space between the two images. So let's check the thumbnail. So you can see img thumbnail. So you can see the two images now. They have a border around the image. That is what the img thumbnail does. So the img fluid here simply means it should take the viewport of the image parent element. That is, the parent element will be sized to the image here will be sized to the parent element of which is child 2. So img fluid simply means 100% of that particular image to the parent element. So why is not 100% of this viewport is because we have constrained the width of this particular image to 340 pixel by 230 pixel, which is the height. This is the width. So that is what img image does. So let's proceed to the next image. So the next image here will have a class of img, thumbnail, and rounded circle. So let's view it and see what that does. So let's check it out. You can see it's now circle. So that is what img rounded circle does to this particular image and the img thumbnail. So without further ado, we have opacity to apply to these four category of image we have on our screen. So let's add the opacity to the first image. So we had what we call opacity dash 25. So then we have opacity dash 50, opacity dash 75, opacity dash 100. So you can see by default 100 is fully opaque. So you can see this is 25, 50, 75 as the case may be. So if we change this, let's change this to opacity 0 and see what happens. You can see opacity 0 that it should be transparent, so there is no image here. So because we said opacity should be 0, so we see none, which is image should be none. So let's bring it back by adding 25. You can see the image is back. The image is back by 25% opaque. So that is all about the image and the opacity. So I will see you in our subsequent lesson. In this class, we'll be learning about the placeholder. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's add a class of placeholder. So let's add a width of 100%. You can see the placeholders as shown now. So class of placeholder width of 100%. So let's copy and paste to all and paste it to the remaining span elements. Let's paste it. You can see we have a different placeholder with 100% width. So if we want to change it now, so we want to add a different color, contextual color to it. So let's add break here. So let's add break. You can see you can add BG, primary. You can see that is the primary color. You can add BG, secondary. That is secondary color. You can add BG, dark. BG dark. So BG info, BG warning, BG success, BG danger, BG light. So you won't see it because it's the same thing as the background. So these are our BG. So these are contextual color of the placeholder. So we still have more to the placeholder. We can add what we call placeholder grow. placeholder glow. So we can add a placeholder glow. So you can also have a placeholder wave. So let's check it out. Placeholder wave, it applies. So placeholder wave and placeholder glow. So let's remove the placeholder here since we have the placeholder wave. So let's remove it and see. So I have the placeholder, the secondary. So placeholder wave, placeholder. So let's put the placeholder again and see. So it's supposed to have a wave. If you look at it now, you can see there's a waveform. So let me add it to it. In this one, let me add placeholder just wave here so that we'll see it in this info. You can see if you study very well, you look at this, you will see a waveform from this. Placeholder wave. So that is all about that. So now, in case if you don't have an image and you want to apply a placeholder, if you check it, you will see the wave moving from left to right. So if you want to apply an image, in case you don't have an image available, you can still use a placeholder to stand as an image in your page. So how do we do that? So let's create a card here. So when we create a card, we now create a div, another div, create a div. So this div, we have a class of placeholder. You can see the class of placeholder has appeared. So we now let's give the card a width of 50% of the screen. So then we can now have a style. Want to give the card a style of height of 30 rem. You can see, okay, 30 rem is much. Let's give it 15 rem. Let's give 15 rem. You can see, good, 15 rem. So this is a placeholder now that we want to apply to it. So we can now have a height of 50%. You can see the height of 50%. So then we can now type say image here. So in case we don't have an image, so we can now apply that image here. Then we can say text white so that we see the text. So let's apply the text white. Let's apply the text white here. Then apply the text white here. So it's processing. I don't know why it's taking the computer a long time to process. So what happened? Placeholder. Wow, that text white has an effect to it. So let's remove the text white. So let's change the BG here. Let's change the BG. Change the BG to info. Change the BG to info. Good. You can see the image now. You can see the text. You can see the text here. So you want to centralize it, you can add your class of test center. So the test will be center. Good. Our image should be here. So you can say Magitop, like Magitop 5. So Magitop 5. Wow, that is the wrong place. Let's put it at the div of the image. It's not matching. I'm sorry for that. So it's padding. Supposed to add the padding. Let's add the padding top. It's padding, not margin. Sorry. So good. You can see the image is centralized now. So that is our card here. So this is our card. So now you can now have your card body. You can now have a test of lorem 20. Then under it you can now have a BTN in danger. Then can I say read more. You can see BTN. So let's check it out. This test is much. Close it. So this is our card body. You can see the BTN. So we can let's take this div out. Let's take this div out. Let's use button. Let's use normal button. BTN. Warning. I think warning is appropriate. Read more. Excuse me. So you can see the button here. So if you want to break it, you can add break here. Good. You can see. And so this, because you centralize it. So let's reduce this margin to 1 or 2. Okay, I think 3 is better. So you can see our BTN now. So you can use the placeholder to achieve that. So if you look at our lorem is too much, you can close it, reduce the lorem. It's too much because we want our image to occupy the 50%. You can see you can use this placeholder as your image in case you don't have the image available. So you can change any color of the image. So that is all about the placeholder. So I will see you in the next lesson. In this class, we'll be dealing with the off canvas and spinal border and spinal groove in this particular session. So without further ado, let's get started. So we have a class of BTN danger. So you can see the BTN danger. So we have the data BS toggle. So we have it as off canvas. So the data target, we'll add it later. So let's deal with the button class. So we have BTN warning. Then we have a class of data BS target. Then we have, let's call it off canvas. So database target, we call it off canvas. We have a class of off canvas. Okay, then we now have a data BS toggle, call it off canvas. So the same thing will apply to here. That data bs toggle of canvas. So that is it. So the id now. So since we have the of canvas here, so in case you are not using the anchor tag, we use database target to get the id. But if you are using the anchor tag, so the href here now represents the database target. So use this of canvas. So that is our id. So here now in this parent element, then we come to this element here, we call a class of canvas. Then we now say of canvas start. Of canvas start. So if you want it to show at the end, so we'll do that in the later class. Then we have a tab index. Our tab index will have -1. So then we now have our id, which is the of canvas. So we have our id. In this place, we have a class of canvas header. So of canvas header. So we have it there. You can see the of canvas header. So this is the parent element here. Then here you can have a class of btn close, and under this button here you can have a data bs, that is data bootstrap dismiss. We now call it off canvas. So you can see then under here, so you can now have a class of canvas body. So of canvas body, here you can have a class of test lead, as the case may be. Then under here now, you can see under here we'll scroll down. Let's scroll down. You can see we have a button here. So here we can have a class of drop down. Then we have a class of drop down toggle. Data bs toggle, can now say drop down. So have it there. Then under here, another list, we can have our drop down menu and class of drop down item, class of drop down item, class of drop down item. So let's check it out. You can see this is the anchor tag and this is the button. All depend on the one you want to use. That is why I taught you in this place on if it is the anchor tag, you use the href to get the id. If it is button, you use the data bs target to get the id. So that is how we achieve that. So let's add a break here. Good. So when we click it now, so we click to achieve the data bs toggle. So let's check it out. What is the problem? Why we are not getting our id? So let's scroll down. We have the off canvas start, tab index -1, and id is off canvas. Oh wow, this is where the error lies. So I've rectified that. So you can click now. You can see the off canvas has appeared. So that is for the link. You can close it. You click here. Off canvas appear. You can close it. So you can see the off canvas is coming from the left. If you want it to come from the end, you can now add here. You can change this place to off canvas end. So let's check it out now. You can see it's coming from the right side. You can close it. Click here. Click here. It's coming from the right side. So you can click the drop down. You can see the drop down. So let's add the beautiful color to the button. So you can add btn. This is primary. Let's add primary to it. So let's check it out. Oh, I'm adding it. Okay, that is the wrong button. That is the wrong button I'm adding it to. So that is the wrong button. I think the button I'm supposed to add it to is the one here. Okay, this is the button I will add it to. So we have btn primary. Cool. So when you click at it now, you can see the btn now. You can see the drop down. You can see it's dropping down. Oh wow, there's an error here. It's dropped down. Cool. So you see the arrow now. Cool. The arrow has shown up. You can see the drop down is showing appropriately. You can see. So you can close it. So let's change it now. Let's change it our drop down to the start. So start. So I don't like it that way. Cool. You can see. Cool. This the drop down. How to achieve drop down. So let's move to the next class. The next class now we'll be dealing with the spinner. So if you look at it here, we can add a class of spinner border. So let's check it out. You can see the spinner border. You can see the loading. The loading is moving with it. It's rotating with it. So that is the spinner border for you. So if you want to dismiss that loading not to rotate with the spinner, so you have a class here. We call it class. We call it visually hidden. So hide it. So you can see this is the spinal border. So you can that is spinal border. So you can see. Let's duplicate it. So let me just add it so that you will stick to your muscle memory. Spinal border. Let's add a BG of primary and let us see. Okay, so BG primary, I don't like it that way. You can say border primary, border primary. So let's refresh. You can see the border primary. So let's remove that class of visually hidden. Visually hidden. You can see visually hidden is rotating, but since the border is showing all round, so you can see because we say border primary, so you can now say border if we say border button, is only the button that we have, but we don't have to do that. So let's get rid of this border doesn't work appropriate here, so let's just leave the border out of it. Let's remove this border here. So you can see the border is showing because we have the border primary. So let's remove the border. It doesn't work appropriately with this. So we have the border like this. So can see the border now. They are together spinning around. So let's add a class here again. Class of border. So border spinner border. You can see the rotation. So let's get rid of this. Say class of visually hidden. So you can see. So if you want to get multiple of it, I think that stick to your muscle memory. So you can just start duplicate it. You can start duplicate it. Wait, there is an error. Let's close the tag here to work appropriately now. So let's copy up. Let's copy the close and open and close tag. So let's paste. So let's paste. You can see that is the spinal border. So let's go for spinal grow now. So let's add a class of spinal grow. Let's watch it. You can see our spinal grow. It's grow. Good. It's coming and going. So you can see the way it's growing from 0 radius to 360 radius. So that is the grow. So you can also hide this by adding visually hidden to it. So that will move out of it. So if you want to get it, let's copy again. Let's paste. Let's paste. 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 And see we have a lot of it now. Paste. You can see you can use this for loading. So I think we have one error here. Let's remove it. This is it. Remove it. So that is the spinal border and the spinal grow. So the last here is opacity. So we have done it in our previous class, but let's still work on it now. So the opacity, you can now add a class here. You can say opacity 0. So that one will disappear. You can see opacity 0 has gone. So let's move to the next one. Class of opacity 25. You can see. So that's dim with 5% opaque, 25% opaque, opacity 50, which is 50% opaque. Can now add a class opacity dash 75. So you can see the opaque according to their percentage of opaque or transparency. So opacity 100. So you can see the 100 is what is the default, which is the number 5, because you have from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 100% is the default. So we have done it in our previous class. So now we have dealt with it again. So now I think by now you have the full knowledge of how to use the opacity. So our off canvas, this is our off canvas, this is our spinal border and a spinal grow and opacity. So in one of our projects, we'll be using the off canvas to achieve that project. So I will see you in the next lesson. In this section, we'll be dealing with the column grid, which is the responsive grid. So we'll enter our class raw, then we'll have a class of called SM 6 call MD 8 call MD 9 call MD 10. Then the second side will now have a class of call SM6 call MD4 and call edge 3 and call extra large 2. So let's correct this. This is LG and this is extra large. So we can see it. So if we size it now, we can see the effect of the curve. So that is for that. So let's go down. Of equal width, you can have a class of raw. Then we can now have our class of raw of core. So let's copy it and paste to the other elements. So you can see they have equal weight. So let's scroll down here and have this done again. So class of raw. So this is the class of raw. Then we can now enter our class here. We can now say call SM6. So let's copy it. Let's paste it here. Paste. So let's check it out. Here we paste it. So the first one we have it here called SM6. Then this is the second one. We have it here called SM6. The third one we have it here called SM6. Then the fourth one we have it here called SM6. Wow, we don't have this. This is not part of it. It's only 4. So let's have it here. So you can see the weight now. Together they are equal. So let's scroll down and have the auto layout. We can have the core here. Have the row first. When you have the row, you can now have your class of core. So you can now have your class of core. So you have equal auto layout. So let's move on. The stack, equal stack. So you can have a class here. You can call it raw. Then here you can now call a class of core SM12. So it will occupy the full width. You can see the way it's already stacked. So with this it will stack. Paste. And the last one, paste. So you can see it already stack. So that is all about that. So the next thing will be dealing with the ordering. So let's have a class here. Let's call it raw. Then let's have the first order. Let's have a class. Let's give it a bg of warning, so that we know the element we are dealing with. Then the second one, let's have a class of bg info, and the last one, class of bg danger. So we want to start to order them. So this is what we will do. So let me display it flex so that we will see it appropriately. So let's remove row and see. Good. I have displayed flex. You can see we have the first, second, third. We want to order it. I will still take it back to the row so that it occupy the full width, but I want us to see it in this form: one flex, order one, first, second, third. So let's start the first one. We have a class of order one. You can see the order one, you see it has moved to the last part. Then let's have this order three. You can see order three. So let me add here order two. Good. You can see they are in the right order now. You can see order three is in number three, order two is in order two, and order one is in order one. Now we want to change the formation now. So order one will come last, which is the warning. Now say order three, then order three will become order one. You can see order three have become order one, and order one have become order three. The first have become the last, and the last has become the first. So in order for us to see it well, we can change this one to order two, then change this to order one. You can see they have changed their position. So the info, you can see the info now. Info has become the first, which is the second. So the third now has become the second, and the first has become what, which is the one, it has become the last. So that is how we use order in Flexbox or in Bootstrap. So you can see, let's go back to the row now. So you can see the position now is still maintain the order in which we align them. So let's take it back to one. You can see first has taken position. You can see it has taken position, and this remain third, first, second, third. You can see now if I change this one to one now, and change this one to three, then change this one to two, you can see it will sort. You can see how it sorts. That's how we use order. So we'll be using the offset now. So the class here, let's add a class of raw. So you can see the class of raw. So this is what we'll be using now. You can see we have column, the offset 3. So we have had a class, we call it column MD6. Now have offset MD3. So it will centralize now. So let's see the offset. So what's happening? Column core MD6. So let's increase the screen because it's in small. So let's increase the screen so that we see it properly. You can see that it's centralized now. That is how we use offset. So let's go back. So let's go down to the second one. So we have a class of raw. class of raw. Then we now have, how many div do we have inside here? We have 2 div. So you can say column, you can see this color MD4. So let's check it out, color MD4. So we now have the one that have offsets. So class of call MD4 now have offset MD4. So let's resize it again. See the difference. You can see this one maintain the default while this one is centralized. So that is how to use offset. So let's move on. You have the column. If you have 2 3 column, divide both offsets. So you can see the div here. You can have a class here, call it, you always enter a class of raw. So then you now say class of call MD-3. Now say offset 3. So here also class call MD-3 offset MD-3. So you check it out. So let's check it out. I will achieve that. Call MD3 offset MD3. So let's resize it. You can see it. You can see you offset 3 here, you offset 3 here. So you can see how it look like. So let's move on. You have the nested column. You can have a class here, call it raw. Then that is the raw. Then when you move on, you now have first level of the raw. You can call SM9. So you can see call SM9. That is the first div. So inside the 9 now we now have another, have a class of raw. Then we have 9. So we now have a class here. Look at it now. We have a class of call 8 and call SM6. Then under here, the level 2, then we have a class of call 4 and call SM6. So let's check it out. You can see the nested. Level. You can see 6. This is 9. This is 6. So they are inside it. So let's close it off. You can see the nested call that we have. So that is how to achieve that. So this is our grid. So we have learned the grid, how to use the grid in Bootstrap. So I'll see you in the next lesson. In this class, we'll be dealing with the vertical alignment of this Bootstrap sandbox. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's have a break here. So let's start. So you can see it's a vertical alignment. So let's enter here. So we have a class of D flex. You can see, then we can also justify content start. That is the default. Then class here, d flex, justify, content center. You can see centralize. Then class d flex, justify, content end. You can see. So let's move on. We have what we call vertical align individual columns. So how do we achieve that? So let's enter class d flex. So it's the individual now. Then can now enter class here. It's a class. You can give it a call. Then we can now say align items, align self start, class call align self center. You can see centralize. Then we can give it a class call align self end. Cool. You can see they all align. So let's get moving. So we have horizontal align column. You can see horizontal align column. So let's get cracking. So here you can see class let me check it out around. Okay, class D, class of D flex, you can see the class of D flex. Can I say align items start? You can see class D flex align item center. You can see centralize. So if you want to have a column to it, to the individual elements, you can add column to it. So let's add this now. If you want to add column, you can add column, class of core. So you can add, or depend on what you wish. You can see here. So if I want to add column here again, add class. So I'm just telling you what you can achieve with the align vertical or align horizontal. So the last here on the alignment, so this is it. Can have a class of D flex, You can see deflex, align, items, end. So you can see it. So because we have the column here, so it's four column. This is the last column. So if you want to make it equally, you can just remove the cursor. You can just remove the cursor. You can see it. So if you want it, you can leave it back. So that is just the alignment. You can see all the alignment. So the last one that we have here, you can see we have the this center alignment, which we have done. So you can see this again, align end. So we have done that. So let's move on. So let's go. This class of deflex, justify, content, around. You can see. Then the last on the table is deflex, justify, content, between. You can see the difference. So you can see all our alignment now. So you can see our alignment. You can see the right align. So we have done with it. So you can see the bottom align. So that is how we achieve that in the Bootstrap alignment class. So I will see you in the next lesson.